Hello. So I read something the other day that really hit me, and I wanted to get a discussion going. And if you want to comment, I would love to hear what you have to say. I would love to, because we're all different. All of our lives are different. All of our experiences with our narcissists are different. So the answers will be varied depending on the person. The comment that I read, which led me to make this video, was on the Third Eye Thirst page. That's what it's called. Third Eye Thirst. And it is, if you could do it again, would you meet them again for the first time or walk away? It's kind of heavy. Now, your instinct may be to say, oh, absolutely, I would never, ever, ever, Renee, I would never, I'd run away. Which, incidentally, I remember in the beginning when my narcissist, one of the first things he did wrong, and I was trying to talk to him, I said, if you had a daughter, what would you, and a boy was treating her this way, what would you tell her? And what would you tell me right now? He goes, run. He even told me to run. Huh, I know, right? I venture to tell us all that we really must think long and hard before we answer this question. And the reason that I say that is because you have to outline in your life what came into your life because of your narcissist. And even if you detest them with every freaking fiber of your being, you have to weigh what would not have been had it not been for your narcissist. So to have a truly honest answer to this question, you must do that, yes? So I knew a woman that was married to someone like this, horrific temper, rageful, never took blame, all of the stuff, and married for over 20 years. I think I might have mentioned this once before. They didn't have children. It was a second marriage for both. And she just saw nothing but misery from the relationship. Nothing. There's no kids. So she saw no blessings. And I said to that person once, I said, but, because she lives here, I said, but, wasn't it your narcissist that over 30 years ago made you move here? She's like, well, yeah. And I said, don't you love Florida? And so many things were a chain reaction from her moving to Florida. Grandchildren she has are because her kids met people, because they were now here and they met people that made her have these grandchildren. So I had to point out to her, your grandchildren are here because your narcissist moved you to Florida. And she stepped back for a second. I don't want to give him credit. I would have those same grandchildren regardless. That was being funny, but my point to you is, if you could do it again, would you meet them again for the first time or walk away? I don't have any children with my narcissist. He didn't affect my life permanently in any way other than the lessons I learned. And I would do it again. My answer is I would do it again. Because I hadn't learned that lesson, regardless of how many times it had been thrown at me. And I looked back on my life of dating for years and years and years. The universe, God, karma, it's all tried to teach me this lesson before. I did not hear it. I don't hear whispers. I've mentioned that before. But this one, this guy, this was the lesson that walked me right up and punched me in my face. And that's the only way I would have heard this lesson. If it was that hard, it had to punch me in the face. Meaning his behavior was again and again and again and again and again and this and this and this and he did that and that and that. And it was awful. It was awful. Awful. But I learned. And I learned finally at age 53. And I didn't know it at 43, and I didn't know it at 33, and I didn't know it at 23, and I didn't know it at 13. And this isn't the first narcissist I've dated. I didn't know that this was a disorder or anything. If you are in this channel, looking at this video, watching this, reading this question to yourself, then you know what this disorder is. So, and you might say to yourself, Renee, it's been nothing but hell. I didn't have kids with him to call a blessing, to say that, because if you have kids with your narcissist, your answer is easy. Of course you would do it again. Of course you would. You wouldn't have your kids. Period. End of story. Done. That's your answer. Because you have your kids. Right? If you don't have kids, and it's a second marriage, or it was like just like a boyfriend, a partner in my case, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very easy to almost say, of course I wouldn't do it again. I'd run. I would run sooner. I definitely think that's the case. I would run sooner. So in the future, I can say that I'll run sooner. But we're talking about the past. And the reality is you didn't know better. And you didn't know about narcissism maybe. And you didn't have any idea it would land where it did. So with all of the knowledge that you have, before you answer, I just find it a very interesting question to ask yourself. Would you do it again? I'm curious to know what you think. And I don't want people going through life regretting their entire relationship with their narcissist if it yielded them something in their life that they do love. Children. Maybe he moved you to a new location that you love, like my story with the Florida lady. Maybe he was a good provider, and not that that's not what I don't mean that puts a Band-Aid on what they put you through. That's not what I mean. But maybe the good providing he did for you allowed you to further your education, and now you're, working in a field that you always wanted. Maybe his good providing allowed you to be able to have your kids in all these different activities, and now they're flourishing. Like, think of things. And the reason that I want you to do this is because I would love everyone to land in the most positive place possible from their narcissist. I tend to try to look at things as they happen the way that they should. They were laid out the way that it was supposed to be. The plan was this way from a force bigger than I am. And I always have trusted the plan. For me, it's God and the universe and karma. I believe in all three things working together for me, okay? So I trust in it. As painful as the plan sometimes is, I just go through it with the pain and I trust. It's leading me somewhere. It's leading me somewhere. It's leading me somewhere. If you're in the thick of things with your narcissist and you're miserable, your quick answer might be, of course I wouldn't do this again. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. Oh my God. But try to think of the positives in your life that came about because of your relationship with this person, and turn the narrative around in your own head so you can process it on a more positive level. It doesn't mean that you're not going to detest them still with every fiber of your being. But you may be able to accept their presence in your life as having been for a reason, and a good reason. In my case, the good reason was I needed to learn this lesson. I was not learning it. No matter how many times it was put in front of me, I absolutely ignored it. It didn't affect me as much until this cat. This cat was that good. He was that charming and then that bad. So the scale of it was such that I said, whoa, what is going on? And I had to look it up. So this relationship, yes, I would do it again. I wouldn't walk away. I would let things unfold the way that they did. And again, I'm hoping maybe that I would have left sooner. Maybe that's something I would have, not have put up with the subsequent months and months and months and months of all of the things that he did. Now that I know, though, it's easy to say that. So if you ask me this question for the next person, my answer will be yes, I would leave right away. I will walk right away. because I'll recognize it now. But we need to ease up on ourselves. You didn't recognize it in the beginning. How can you kick yourself for not leaving? You didn't recognize it in the beginning. You wouldn't live where you live. You wouldn't have the kids that you have. Maybe you wouldn't have the grandkids you have. Maybe you wouldn't have met the friends that you have. Maybe you would, you know what I mean? And I'm all about trying to see the positive in every angle of your life. It helps your psyche to do that. And I want you to. I don't want the narcissist having so much power over all of us that they can only and always bring us down. Because they do bring us down all the time. So in the face of a question like this, if you can come up with, you know what? Had I never met the narcissist, I wouldn't have this. I wouldn't have gone there. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have met that person on that day and become friends with them. Think of friends in your life. You might have a friend in your life you've had for 20 years, a good friend that you met through the narcissist. So you detest the narcissist, but you've made this wonderful friend. There are things that you can count that are reasons that you may not answer this question so quickly and in the way that you might off the cuff answer it. And I encourage you to discover it, because I want you to land on your positives. That's the whole reason. And my positives, as much as it was a lot of negative, I would do it again. That's my answer. So give it some thought. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I mean, if you're a victim of physical abuse and all of this, then your answer is going to be pretty heavy. And I'm not trying to make you relive it or share it if you don't want to or whatever. But, and maybe some of you, even with physical abuse, maybe you're like, but I have 3 beautiful children and I would do it again. And I'm not saying you're signing up to being physically abused again. That's not the nature of the question. Let's not get confused, because nobody's going to say yes to that specific question. Would I sign up to be physically abused again? Of course the answer is going to be no. But this is a broader question. I want you to look at the scope of your life and what is positive in your life as a result of knowing this person. And I hope you can land on something, because that's what I try to do with every situation. So good luck, and I want to know what you think. Let me know. We can have a discussion in the comments.